Have you ever considered the place where some of the meat that you eat comes from? Don't worry, I'm not standing up here trying to convince you to become a vegetarian. It wouldn't be very fair of me considering I'm not even a vegetarian myself. However, I will stand up here trying to convince you why factory farming should be banned. Some of you may not even know what factory farming is. You may not have ever even heard of it before. Factory farming is the term that has been introduced to us to replace what we know of as a farm. People think of a farm as a royal collection of barns and fields that are owned by or run by a family. In reality, most farms have turned into massive industrial-type facilities that are owned and controlled by large corporations. Factory farming is a process that is very disturbing and very unsanitary, but very legal. It is a process of which a large percentage of animals are killed for the meat that we eat in the United States. Most of you don't think about where the meat you're eating come from, which is completely understandable because, I don't stare at my chicken dishes wondering where the chicken comes from, but sometimes I can't help myself but to consider the condition that the animal was once in before I ate it. There are two different types of factory farms: animal feeding operation, AFO, and concentrated animal feeding operation, CAFO. Both are very similar in the fact that they do not care about the animal's life and health. Instead, they're mainly focused on maximizing productivity and profits. The meat you are eating comes from animals that most likely have never seen sunlight in their life. They are trapped in cages within buildings that lack any form of sunlight or fresh air on factory farms. These animals have only experienced life within a crowded cage on factory farms that are made up of concrete floor and barbed wire. Chickens are kept in cages referred to as battery cages. Battery cages hold up to about 5 chickens. This means that the chickens have no room to spread out their wings, sleep lying down, or even have their own breathing room. They are bred specifically in restraint so that they can never grow to be able to stand up because their bones are too weak. Hens are also trapped in battery cages, and because of this, their beaks and toes are cut off in order to prevent them from attacking each other. Roosters are killed immediately at birth through suffocation in a bag, and cows are brought in groups of 309 to 330 for the disassembly line. And when they are brought in, most of them are fully conscious and awake when they are cut up and skinned. Pigs are kept in tiny cages so that they are restricted from turning around and moving a lot. When they are just piglets, their tails are cut off and their teeth are cut out so they do not bite at each other. When a pig is 6 months old, it is killed. Veal calves are continuously being crushed so their muscles can't grow and their flesh is tender. Females are artificially inseminated instead of natural mating, and when they give birth, they are immediately separated from their newborns to keep the process moving. Cramped living conditions such as these are basically asking for disease to spread among the farm animals. Mad cow disease, foot and mouth disease, and salmonella are just a few of the diseases that spread among the farm animals. If you think about it, you are eating meat that comes from animals that are not even healthy. Veal calves are fed an iron deficiency diet to make sure that their flesh is pale. If that doesn't scream out unhealthy to you, maybe this will. The animal is injected with many different kinds of hormones and drugs on a routinely basis to promote faster growth in the animal. These drugs are then passed on to the human who's consuming the meat, which is, in other words, yourself. You are taking in the meat from an animal that was never fed the proper nutritious amount. The meat from factory farms is cheap for these reasons and also because the meat is mechanically recovered. Also, part of the animal's bodies that shouldn't be consumed are put into sausages and patties. These body parts include testicles, eyes, lips, and anal tracts. No one is telling you to give up on meat or convince you to never eat meat again, but why should we be eating meat that comes from animals that are brutally tortured and starved? I bet you didn't know that all male chickens are either gassed or crushed at only age 1 for the simple fact that they are not females and cannot lay eggs. 800 million broiler chickens are killed each year in the UK. Broiler chickens are bred to put on an excessive amount of weight as quickly as possible, and as a result, they suffer from heart disease and broken bones, and because they cannot hold their body up, their legs are too weak, and as a result, they are immediately killed because they're esteemed as unworthy. These broiler chickens, along with turkey, duck, and geese, are sometimes kept inside dark, dirty, and overcrowded sheds on factory farms. The buildup of ammonia inside the sheds causes blisters on the feet and burns on their stomachs. And sometimes in the supermarket shelves, you can actually see burns on the meat. Factory farms have been the cause of many cases of disease and illness because of the overcrowded, filthy environment. Diseases thrive and spread quickly, jeopardizing the health of millions of animals and humans alike. Salmonella is a disease that spreads very easily because of the way chickens are handled, slaughtered, and prepared in the factory farms. Thank you. Factory farms are responsible for 2.7 trillion pounds of waste each year. In contrast, small, more natural farms recycle the manure and waste to use as fertilizer for their crops. Many people focus mainly on the harm animals have to endure on factory farms and the conditions in which they have to go through. But it's also important to recognize that the effects that factory farms have on the environment. The scent of manure that permeates people's homes located near the farm commonly contains dangerous levels of hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and methane. The poisonous gas that smells like rotten egg can cause dizziness, nausea, blackout periods, and vomiting. The gases have also led to respiratory illnesses among 70% of the workers on the farms, and 58% suffer from severe chronic bronchitis. In my opinion, I feel strongly that factory farms are not the answer for us to receive meat. Battery cages are so cruel that they're actually being made illegal in Britain in 2012. Why are battery cages the only things that are being made illegal? The way pigs and baby calves are treated is by no means fair or right. It is a cruel action that these farmers are doing against innocent animals that can't even protect themselves because they're made too weak. I believe that any changes possible should be made and that all factory farms should be banned. There are already solutions created to change the cruel actions going on within factory farms. In replacement of battery cages, there will be enriched cages that give the animal more room to spread out their wings, to breathe, and even more room to lay their eggs. Some supermarkets are beginning to sell only free-range eggs, which is a slow start to a healthy environment for animals because it allows them to have more fresh air. There are organic farms that are also options. Farmers consider organic farming as farming with Mother Nature. These farmers explain that they try to transition conventional farmland into organic farmland where they do not use any pesticides or any drugs on the animals for their growth. A cancer survivor who is an advocate of organic farms tells her story about when she had cancer, she changed her diet over to only organic farmland foods and how it had such a positive effect on her overall health and ability to survive. This is Organic Valley's opinion on factory farms. It said that chemical-intensive conventional farming creates high yields of cheap food in the short term, but the causes are compromised ecosystems and squandered natural resources. It creates a debt that we and our children can ill afford to pay. Organic Valley, because it's an example of one of the organic farms, it relies on methods that cause rapid loss of topsoil, which will eventually cause the land to be unusable. They require massive amounts of antibiotics. This is what they feel that factory farms do. But the organic feel this. What they do is they feel that both the land and the animals, as a result, like in contrast to factory farms, they feel that the land animals are kept healthy and relatively happy. The effect of organic farmlands is that the land is sustainable. Animals can produce products such as milk and eggs for many more years than unhealthy animals of factory farms, and humans can protect their own health. Some of you might not have a problem with the way these animals are being tortured, but you are ultimately eating meat that is coming from animals that are not even healthy or sanitary. You are consuming meat from animals that were drugged or starved and then slaughtered. Next time you dig into that meal of yours, maybe it'll make more sense to you how wrong factory farms truly are and that there can be other different solutions.